while we wait, just for maybe those of you who don't know, this webinar is part of the webinars hosted by the Early Career Network, which is a network for researchers, early career researchers and practitioners within the community of GLP, of the Global Land Program. This time we want to focus on this very interesting theme for the webinar, so I won't spend a long time introducing this network, but feel free to visit our website in case you aren't yet a member of the Early Career Network, and also stay tuned because we will have some interesting announcements this week. Okay, I see that people are joining. Maybe just to keep track on time, I will go ahead and introduce our speaker today. We have a very, very exciting webinar today that would be facilitated by Brock Blevins. He's a training coordinator for the NASA's Applied Remote Sensing Training Program, ARSET, and he has been producing this kind of online and in-person training for a long time now. He has a lot of experience working, for example, in the IUCN, since 2007, and there he has represented the Species Survival Commission and also the Commission of Ecosystem Management. And he has also served as a co-lead for the CEM Thematic Group of Ecosystem Restoration, and most recently as the Regional CEM Chair for North America. So it's super exciting to have you with us today, Brock, and to hear more about the ARSET training program. I will hand it over to you.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and it's a pleasure to be acquainted with all of you in the Global Land Program community. As Sophia said, my name is Brock Blevins. I'm a training coordinator for the NASA's Applied Remote Sensing Training Program, and I'll go into depth with what we offer and how we do it and how you can access these learning resources for your particular application of interest. Hopefully we cover them all. And if not, please also, during our question and answer session, let us know certain topics that you're interested in. We're always trying to respond to the community on what they're needing as far as applications of Earth observations. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint at first, and then I'm going to navigate through our training online resource guide as well as our website as well. So I'm going to turn off my camera and share a PowerPoint here. One moment.
Meanwhile, Brock, just to say to everyone that we will have a 30 to 40 minute presentation by Brock, but the question and answers will be open all the time. Feel free to ask questions in the chat, and then I will collect them during our question and answer time at the end of the webinar. And the webinar will finish at 12 here, 11 ET time zone. So yeah, that will be the structure of the webinar.
Okay, can you see this nice and big?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Yeah, so I titled this Satellite Observations for Decision Making. As I mentioned, we are NASA's Applied Remote Sensing Training Program, or commonly known as ARSET. I'm a training coordinator for the program. I've been with the program for over 10 years now. And I try to make sure that all the trainings in a given year actually happen with, of course, the help of a wonderful team that we have behind us. I'm centered in Annapolis, Maryland, USA at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. Oh, and I put the URL for our webpage in the chat if you want to check that out later on. So what we're part of is that, a lot of people know NASA for going to the moon and observing space, but actually most of our satellites look down on Earth. So the program that we're part of is the Earth Action program within NASA. And this was before it was named the Applied Sciences program. We kind of went through a little renaming period and restructuring, but we're still the same program, and we're called Earth Action. And what we like to do is show what Earth observations we have and hopefully make that applicable and applied to decision making for anybody working in an operational sense, anybody working as a manager or a city planner, anybody who can use this information to make a spatial decision, whatever you're trying to do. So we try to focus on our planet's most pressing issues, and then do capacity building, capacity sharing with other space agencies as well on a lot of our trainings. It's a holistic sort of approach, but we take what's being researched and take that to a level that it can be used by anybody, hopefully at whatever skill level is appropriate for you. We have a lot of different themes in which we do our trainings. We started off with health and air quality about 15 years ago, but then we branched out to water resources, ecological conservation, disaster management and response, agriculture, wildland fires, and climate and resilience. We have another program that is a sister program of ours called Develop, and I'll drop the link in there. But if you Google NASA Develop, it'll probably be the first thing that comes up. So besides what we do, and I'll go into that, the ARSET program, I just wanted to give a little plug for the Develop program. They do 3 terms a year, and they're 10-week sort of feasibility projects. Anybody can go to their webpage and submit a proposal to be a partner with one of these teams that go on 3 times a year, and they'll take transitioning professionals or students or recent graduates and their interns that work as a team to work with you on whatever problems or issues you're trying to solve, and hopefully create a workflow using Earth observations. Oh, one moment. It is spring break for me here in in DC, and I have my daughter here. There you go. And then anybody can apply. They have remote positions. They have positions that you can be at a number of nodes across the United States affiliated with universities. So as far as this being an early career network session, this would be a wonderful opportunity for anybody who wants to get a little bit more involved and work with NASA as an intern and these partners. One moment. Is the number? I don't know. You're in. Okay. So sorry. So I will answer any questions on that during the Q&A session. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're the Applied Remote Sensing Training Program. We want to increase the knowledge and awareness that NASA does Earth science, and that we're collecting information around the globe on a number of satellite missions all the time, and new missions going up. It's very exciting. As I mentioned, these are the themes in which we conduct our trainings. And what we want to do is sort of increase the awareness, appreciation, appetites, and hopefully through adoption of using Earth observations in management workflows. So in this pyramid you see here is sort of the approach that we take. First of all is awareness. Do people know that there is open data? This is at no cost to users. And we show what's out there, what can be used, show how it's being used by other entities, and then hopefully you can adopt that into your region of interest. Through awareness first, and then appreciating the strength and limitations of our data sets. By the way, all of our trainings are cost-free. Most of them are online, so you can do it from anywhere. And then we like to create an appetite for that. So now you know what's possible. We show how to access that data. And then hopefully through seeing case study examples, you can start to use that data for your particular region. And then hopefully adoption. This is a piece that we because we train so many people worldwide, we can't really take it to that adoption point ourselves, but we are always looking for feedback on people who have used our trainings and our learning resources and started using them actually in real life. So as I mentioned, we do our online trainings. We have about 18 per year, 18 training sessions or training series. We also do in-person trainings. So we'll work with an agency like the EPA. We'll develop an agenda that suits their needs on what they're trying to address, say health and air quality. And then we'll work on, tailor a training specific to their needs. And those trainings are usually about 3 days long. We'll do in person in a classroom and really work you through the workflow with lots of exercises. So we have the in-person trainings, but also the live instructor-led. But we also have self-guided trainings through a learning management system, which I'll go into in a little bit. When we do our online live trainings, they're typically, well, it's just 3 to 4 sessions, but usually 2 to 4 sessions. And they're roundabouts an hour and a half each of content showing examples and demonstrations, followed by a very thorough question and answer session. As I mentioned, since NASA data is available at no cost to the users, this is our tax dollars at work, we offer our trainings, of course, without any barriers of cost to the users. Often they're, didn't mean to advance that. Often they're multilingual. When we do multilingual, we'll do it in Spanish. Sometimes we've had some French, and we would love to delve into other languages as well. And these trainings will range from introductory to advanced. We would like to create the widest on-ramp for users as possible. So we try to really meet you where you are in your knowledge of remote sensing. So fundamentals of remote sensing, and then working up to introductory. And I'll go into what each of these types of levels entail. We have about 194 trainings that we've done since 2009, and most of them are available on our webpage, and I'll show our online resource guide as well. We've reached over 130 individuals over the past 15 years here, I guess, and almost reached, well, I think it's about 189 different countries, and over 20,000 unique organizations come to us from a variety of sectors. One moment.
Can you tell me what the password is?
Same as on my phone. There you go. So those would be central government agencies, ministries of environment, down to NGOs, IUCN, Nature Conservancy, World Wildlife Fund, to the private sector is actually one of our largest growing sectors. Entrepreneurs, people who are providing consultation, insurance companies that want to use Earth observations as well. Down to the state level, county level, and then increasingly the local and city level of users who have maybe a GIS team or anybody who wants to use that for decision making or policy or management. And this bubble chart here, the size of each bubble is the sort of attendance that we saw in each one of the trainings. As you see, they have grown, especially as we have gone to an online format over the years. And you can see which theme that we started off with: health and air quality, water resources, climate resilience, ecological conservation is one of our largest attended trainings for a lot of different reasons. But this sort of shows you our evolution over the years and what we've been up to. As I said, we target policymakers and managers, anybody working professionally. This map here shows that we truly do have a global audience. This is just from 2024. And then the little pie chart here kind of shows you who we're reaching. Half of that you see is academia, whether it be faculty or students. So we like to think that this is being used in classrooms, being used for people working on their studies. We don't necessarily go out and target academia necessarily, but we know it's being used by academia as far as their kind of think of it as a workforce development across the globe, if you will. As I mentioned, we have a lot of different levels of our trainings. One is fundamentals, as you see on the bottom here. This assumes you have no prior knowledge of remote sensing at all. And we just really go into the basics and talk about orbits and sensors and platforms, and just so you get familiar with the terminology, swath width, pixel size, just so you can really appreciate what you're seeing when you get into those introductory or immediate and advanced trainings. Introductory, we suggest that somebody, is familiar with fundamentals of remote sensing, whether they learned it in school or they took our course. So equivalent knowledge going into there, and we don't exclude anybody. We just suggest that there's a prerequisite. So you're sort of on a level playing field with the rest of the participants in that particular session. And we'll have 600, sometimes 1,000 people in on one training session. So we use WebEx as our platform to conduct these trainings, and we can fit up to 3,000 people in any one. So we're really trying to reach as many people as possible. So introductory trainings from fundamentals would be something like an introduction to remote sensing for harmful algal blooms, for water quality applications. And we'll talk about how that can be applied to water quality, fire management, things like that. Intermediate, we kind of start going into a little bit more exercise. We'll produce step-by-step exercises. We'll have a homework at the end of these, just to kind of get you working with the data itself. And then advanced, we go even further with that, where we'll have, as I mentioned, exercises, but we go into coding. We'll introduce Jupyter notebooks, things like that, so we can really transfer the learning and provide code where you can hopefully just adjust the region that you're looking at with the workflow that's already been developed by our researchers and applied scientists. So these are some training examples. We had one, it was actually probably one of our most popular, fundamentals of machine learning in earth science. That was offered in English and Spanish. These are just some highlights from the last couple of years, so you can get a flavor of how we approach these. So we really try to put in the title of the training the application that we're looking for. Another one is our SAR series, so synthetic aperture radar, and its applications, available in English and Spanish. Water quality for inland lakes is a very popular one for us for a number of reasons, being health and for communities. We have ones where we're analyzing air quality from geostationary satellites, which captures images at a more frequent temporal resolution, really good for management decisions there. One on building climate risk assessments for local vulnerability and exposure. So sort of helping to prepare the community out there for adapting to climate change and extreme weather, things like that. And then agriculture has been a very popular one for us. And we had one where we're combining both synthetic aperture radar SAR and optical remote sensing in order to make some decisions on when it comes to food security. And we work with a number of different organizations to do this. So for instance, this crop mapping one, we work with Agri-Food Canada to produce this series. So we're really trying to find experts in their field who are working on these things, and we partner with them in order to produce these trainings. So a lot of the content we're not producing all of ourselves, but we're working with other groups, European Space Agency, ministries, things like that. So our air quality trainings, if that is your flavor, we have one is a very introductory, an inside look on how NASA measures air pollution, air quality forecasting, As you see here, another one connecting with the ground networks that exist with the satellite data. So you can start to pull that in situ and Earth observations together. On our disasters, for city planners, measuring urban heat islands and heat vulnerability indices. So that's disasters and health put together, if you will. One on hydrological applications, so we're thinking flooding here. Drought monitoring, it's kind of hard to put these in a specific silo because they naturally sort of combined to each other, but drought monitoring can be used for food security, water resources management. And then we had a couple series on humanitarian applications. So for displaced peoples around the globe, different problems that people who are managing, like from the UN settlements program, how they can deal with droughts and the displacement of people in a more humane way. Agriculture, as I mentioned, we also have ones on fire risk detection and analysis. Unfortunately, this is an increasing problem every year. Invasive species monitoring, as well as change detection for land cover mapping. If you can see the change over time, you can start to make decisions and sort of make your, you can address them spatially and then so land cover mapping and accuracy, things like that, we try to walk people through those. Water resources management, monitoring water budgets, watershed health after a fire, for instance. So how do we come up with these? Well, it's basically we'll give a training and we'll get feedback through an evaluation system and then see what people are asking for next. And for instance, we did a training on fires, and then people really showed some interest on, okay, well, what does that do to water in the nearby areas? So we try to respond annually with trainings that people are asking for. So if you take one of our trainings, the survey that we send afterwards is so important to us. We want to do these for you and your interests. As I mentioned, we sort of our early trainings, the fundamentals, talk about satellite orbits and observation techniques, modeling. We'll work with different entities within NASA itself, different missions, the Earth data, where they, all the DACs, the data and distribution centers around NASA, and different tools that they put together, like FIRMS. Which is a fire information resource management system. So we really show the tools and how to do the data analysis, how people are using them now. Fire detection, smoke transport. As you see, there's just so many different applications that we can address. So I'll do a show of hands later on if anybody in the crowd has taken one of our trainings. I'd be really curious if you have. Our trainings will consist of lectures. We'll show demonstrations of a training or of a web page, of a data portal like Worldview, of firms, and we'll show click by click, get you familiar with all the functions of that tool that's been developed, and then show you how to navigate, how to change your the different data sets that you're looking at. As I mentioned, we produced hands-on exercises, step-by-step instructions. This is a Jupyter notebook that you're seeing here. We'll provide a homework just to do a knowledge assessment to make sure that you've achieved those learning objectives that we set forth in the very beginning of the training. We'll have a question and answer session. We like to keep a nice long half hour after a training to take questions from the audience. And then we transcribe them in real time as we're answering those. And then we'll make that question and answer transcript available on the training webpage within a week after we clean it up, which ends up being actually a very valuable resource for people. We include those in the recordings as well. And then, of course, training evaluation. That's how we get ideas for next trainings. We get feedback on the tool that we presented and any limitations that you might see, and we try to relay that back to the development team so they can make the the tools work better for you. Say there's a data format that is very problematic for you and your workflow. Hopefully, this feedback can help us produce a data product that is easier to use for you in your application. As I mentioned, okay, I kind of covered this before, what an introductory and intermediate training consists of. But just to kind of talk about the learning objectives, we try to be very specific, using Bloom's taxonomy, using action words, and we tie that to the assessment. So like a learning objective would be to, by the end of this training, you'll be able to find and download imagery of NO2 or aerosol particles, things like that. We try to be very specific so you can walk away with a skill that hopefully you can use in your studies or in your work after the fact. And as I mentioned, the hands-on exercises, we really get into the coding using open source software, so QGIS, Google Earth Engine, Python or RCode or Jupyter Notebooks to convey that. And this is just an example of GEE, Google Earth Engine, showing Landsat and Sentinel-2 data combined. We don't just train on NASA data. We work with other space agencies. So Sentinel-2 is produced by ESA. Whatever data set is applicable, we will feature in the training. Sorry, this is a little updated, but we just recently completed one on landside monitoring and risk, as well as one on waterborne disease risk. These are new topics for us. But we have one that starts tomorrow on FIRM. So it's Earth observations for wildfire monitoring and management. And the registration is open right now. I mentioned the fundamentals of remote sensing in the learning management system, and I'll walk you through that a little bit here, but the QR code will take you there. And this is one that you would create an account for on our learning management system. We use Moodle, and then you can start to sign up for trainings that you can self-pace through. It keeps track of where you are. So we started off with this fundamentals, but we're going to be populating a learning management system throughout the year. And I'll go into that in a little bit more detail in a little bit. But right now there's 2 courses available, but we're going to continue to populate that with trainings. A lot of people really find a certificate of completion useful for them, whether it's saying, hey, this is how I spent my time on my job. I got the certificate of completion. So this fundamentals, we weren't able to offer a certificate of completion before because we weren't able to track progress and completion and assessment. But this one is set up now where anybody can earn a certificate of completion. Some people can put them on their on their resumes or on their LinkedIn page. So it's really exciting to see people kind of going out there and being advocates for us and the learning resources that we put together. I'll walk you a little bit through the online resource guide, or at least definitely point you to it in the in the chat. And so you can browse through all of our previous trainings broken down by theme. They'll let you know if it's introductory or not, advanced, the different levels, as well as you can go in and self-pace through all of our previous trainings. So on any one of these training web pages, you will find the presentations of the PowerPoints in PDF format, the recordings, the exercises, the homework, any additional resources. So on your time, you can go through and self-pace through any of our previous trainings. You can sign up for our Twitter or X account for any new training announcements. As I said, we do about 18 per year. So once or twice a month, we'll put out a training announcement, and that training will probably occur about 2 months later. So we try to give about a 2-month promotional period to get as many people aware of the training and signed up. And this QR code will take you to our training webpage, which I will transfer to right now. One moment. Okay, hopefully you can see this nice and big. So this is our main page. We recently had to take a few of our trainings down, but we're re-uploading them to a new web page. All the links that you'll see in the training resource guide, we're going to have redirects as we're moving over to Earth Data. So Earth Data provides all the data that NASA puts out. We want to have our training sort of sitting next to those. So when you see the data, you can find a training resource on how to use that. So that's going to be evolving over the next year or so. But all the URLs that you come across will take you there, even if it's via a redirect. So on our main page, you'll see anything that's open right now for registration. Fundamentals Remote Sensing, as I mentioned, is always open. But we have the one on fire resources management. We have one coming up from the SWAT mission on terrestrial surface water height for water resources management. That's going to be offered in English and Spanish. If we have a bilingual training, we'll have the English session in the morning, Eastern Daylight Time, and then the Spanish session in the afternoon. If it's just an English training, we'll have two different time slots, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, so we can reach as many people that can attend live as possible to accommodate all the different time zones as we can. Another one is a new for us, introduction to integrating animal tracking and remote sensing for looking at different habitat types and working on populations for wildlife managers, for instance. Oops, didn't mean to do that. One moment. And then we have another one that, geez, did we open it up already? This is just new. Yeah, just opened up yesterday or today. This is one is on sea level change tools for planning and decision support. Please check this one out. This one's going to be occurring, as I mentioned, about 2 months from now. This will be June 10th through June 17th. It'll be a two-part series, if you will. Just going to go back here just to highlight our fundamentals of remote sensing. You can hop in, you can create an account, enroll, and then choose the trainings that seem interesting to you. Besides the fundamentals of remote sensing, we're going to have fundamentals of air quality. We're going to have fundamentals of water resources management, ecological conservation. So it's going to be a stepwise thing pertaining to your particular area of interest. And then we also have this one. It's a really interesting one where you put yourself as a role of an early career researcher trying to work with a partner, a city planner, health and air quality department of a state. And it sort of walks through how you take those applications to a usable level. And you can either be an early career scientist, you can play the role of a partner and all the nuances of communication and working with the partner and co-developing the applications with those partner. It's a really interesting training. So this is something that we put out there for anybody who's working in research but want to take it to that applied, and we show a stepwise fashion on how people can do that and how people have done that. And it's a really neat little sort of cartoon role play sort of training. A little bit different than our usual, but I wanted to highlight it as well. And then finally, just a quick little brief look at our online resource guide. This will load up. Yeah, so front page, it will, let me do this like this. It'll show all the trainings that we've have available online over the years, broken down by themes and the fundamentals to get started, but then also climate resilience. So as I mentioned, you can go back to previous ones and work your way through them at your own pace. But the live ones are especially exciting because you get a chance to interact with the trainers themselves during the Q&A session. And we're trying to find ways to make them even more interactive throughout the training itself. So this is the end of my presentation. Hopefully it wasn't too much at once, but I wanted to give a nice thorough example of what we have available at no cost for anybody around the globe. And I am available to take questions at this time on any topic. So I will quit sharing, or I could go back to sharing, but I'm going to put on let me find it. There it is. There we go. Stop sharing. Put on my, there we are.
Thank you, Brock.
Yeah.
That was great. I'm very impressed by all the variety of training opportunities and resources. It was super nice to see. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
There are, yeah.
I was just going to say, we've been working with Lauren and the Global Land Program for years now. So any training we have come up, I will either reach out and say, hey, if you want to put it on your webpage, or you want to, put it on a newsletter or a listserv announcement, please feel free. And you guys have been so great working with us, and we really appreciate helping us promote these trainings to a wider audience and to your community.
Yeah, it's great to have those training posted in GLP and promoted. So yeah, we have a few questions. I will also feel free, everyone. We have a few minutes for questions, and you can, of course, unmute yourselves and go ahead and ask if you want. But I will ask you, Brock, the questions that some people left in the chat.
Sure.
And there's a question about artificial intelligence, and what are your thoughts about that, and how do you consider, and if how do you consider this in your trainings?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we've delved a little bit into machine learning for some of our trainings on how to work with the data sets in a nice efficient workflow. There's some really it's a new frontier when it comes to AI, as far as finding the data, finding resources for you. There's some efforts being put together with the European Space Agency to sort of be an adaptive. Now, this isn't work with data itself. I can just speak to sort of finding what you're looking for as far as learning resources, where it can adapt to and find you the resources that is for your level and your particular application. So there's some efforts there. So it's sort of like an adaptive curriculum for yourself. As I mentioned, it's a brave new world out there when it comes to AI, and we're trying to embrace it as much as we can with teaching the basics of machine learning and things like that.
Yeah, that's challenging for everyone in every field these days. Then we have other question about whether you are going to EGU 2025.
Yeah, so the European Geophysical Union is what I believe that is. And we have a strong presence at the AGU, the American Geophysical Union. I do not believe that we're going to have anybody from NASA at the EGU. Travel right now isn't really happening. And that's all I'll say about that for the near future.
Okay, thanks. And then also people are asking if ARSET has Blue Sky account for those who don't use Twitter or X.
Oh, yeah. We are trying to get out there on all those, and Blue Sky is one that's been mentioned quite often. We do not currently have one, but we are very interested in creating a presence on more social media. So it's nice to hear that some more data points on how Blue Sky is being requested. So thank you for that.
Cool. And then, Brock, I was also curious. I know you mentioned that most of the people taking the training courses are from research and academy mostly, but I was curious to know if you also have like targeted training for different audiences, for example, I know education, research, just something I was curious about while I heard your talk.
Well, we when we design these trainings and we come up with the learning objectives and the topic, we have decision makers and anybody working in management operations in mind, first and foremost. So we target them first. Of course, anybody can use them in academia for a number of ways, researchers, they're usually more tuned in to the community. So they come across our trainings and they will use them for their purposes, but we design them specifically for a water resources management working in X watershed. And we really try to focus on the skills that they've communicated to us that they need and the spatial data that would be useful for them. Yeah, we do. In fact, all of our trainings are targeted towards somebody who's working in the field for that. But academia finds it, of course, as useful, sometimes not more useful, because they're usually a little bit more versed on using Earth observation data.
Great, thanks. And now okay, there is other question here. They are asking if there is any newsletter or listserv for ARSET.
Yes, there is. Let me place it in the where is it? Okay, to join our mailing list, I'm going to put this in the chat here. So we have our listserv, as I mentioned, and we don't send out messages willy-nilly. We'll send them only. So what I'm saying is we're not going to flood your inbox. We're going to just send training announcements. So you can receive maybe 18 of those per year, but then we have a quarterly newsletter as well. All the previous newsletters can be found on the resources page, additional resources on our training webpage. They'll have participant highlights where we've done interviews with participants and see how they're using them, how they're using the data in their work. We'll have announcements of new trainings, new tools that are being developed, a new data set. And for some reason, I've lost the chat here. I just have too many things open. There we are. So in order to join the listserv, you just send this email account here with no subject line, and it will walk you through the process. And everybody gets approved.
Excellent. Thank you, Brock. And now anyone can just go ahead and ask a question if you want. You can unmute yourselves and ask. Oh, there's another question in the chat asking whether ARSET has postdoctoral opportunities.
Oh, no, we don't. We're just the community, or excuse me, capacity sharing program. But there are a number of postdoctoral opportunities available through NASA, whether it's through the research division or the applied sciences division. There is an application process that comes out very frequently for different themes. So ecological conservation, water resources management, and they're called ROSES proposals, where you can get hired on as a postdoctoral researcher to work with our teams to develop these tools. New missions. Yeah. So when I find the URL, I'll post so people can start to discover ways to get involved in that sense.
Thank you, Brock. People are also very interested in having this link for the mailing list. And then there's another question asking if you collaborate with the European Union's Copernicus program and if the data sets are comparable and compatible.
Yes, we do. As I mentioned, depending on the application, we work with whoever is providing that data. So the Copernicus program is one of them. We work with the World Meteorological Organization. They have an amazing program where they're training meteorologists around the globe. So yeah, the EU is definitely an entity amongst many other space agencies and groups like that we want to work with. Whoever is a subject matter expert, whether on the application or the data itself, we want to work with them.
Great, thank you. Do we have any more questions? I think there's one more in the chat. And this was great. There were a lot of nice questions. And remember that we also post all the events related to ARSET in our GLP website, so you can also check there. And I said this in the chat, but there we also post job opportunities, postdoc opportunities, etc. So you can check them.
I'm just looking through the chat right now myself. There's some great questions.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we were going to post this mailing list link here in the chat if we have it. Otherwise, we can also share it afterwards with all the registrants.
Yeah, I put it in here. Darn it, where'd it go? Let me. Oh, you know what I did? I sent it straight to Lauren. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I saw it posted. Okay, there it is. So sorry. I didn't realize it wasn't going out to everybody. So yeah, to join our mailing list, this is the last chat.
Perfect.
Chat section here.
Okay, so you have to send an email there and then to follow the instructions. Cool.
Yeah,
I will also sign up myself.
And you'll be on there. Yeah. Yep.
Perfect. Do we have any more questions? Okay, otherwise maybe we can wrap up. We are right on time. So this was a great webinar, Brock. Thanks a lot. It was super interesting.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of resources available for people to do trainings on different topics. It was super nice.
May I ask a question of the audience?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
So I'm just going to throw this out there. If you had a chance to request a training on the topic that you are passionate about, what would it be? What's the application? What's concerning you and your work? So if you want to put it out there, if you just want to put it in the chat, I'll be collecting this information and bringing it back to the team. So you can do it at any point, but I'm just curious. I'll also put my email address here.
Yeah, that would be great.
Brock.blevins@nasa.gov. And that one went to everyone. If you have a question, you just want to ask me, I'm always on. I'm pretty responsive. And you won't be bothering me in the least. So I like to talk to people about what they want to use this for. Soil erosion, nice. Yeah, we gave a good one working with the UN land degradation neutrality project, UNCCD, combating desertification. So we gave a training on that a little bit ago using Google Earth Engine, working with those. So if you look through our online resource guide, or you just sort of Google ARSET UNCCD, you'll see that training available to you as well. And if the URLs aren't working, sometimes we're still in the process of bringing some of these back up. We're almost there. And if you don't see it, just email me and I'll move that up to the top of the list.
There are a lot of topics coming up there. Water quality, carbon accounting, the limitation of brownfields, biodiversity changes over time.
Now, I am not familiar with the delimitation of brownfields. I'm going to look this up. Sounds interesting. Or whoever put that in there. WI and biodiversity. Biodiversity is my personal favorites. Anything involving ecosystem management. So our ecological conservation team is very in tune to that. So we do have ones on biodiversity. But if there's certain nuances to it that you would like to see in future trainings, check that one out. See if we covered it, and if not, if there's something we can go a little bit deeper on. Like I said, we're trying to be responsive to the community. Great topics. Water pollution, yes. Water quality. The PACE mission just went up, and the data is becoming more and more refined, and they're building tools for them. So that is a hyperspectral sensor, and it's just opening up a whole new world. You can see so much more with these extra channels available through hyperspectral sensors. And then look for NISAR to be launched soon too. That's going to be one that we're working with the Indian Space Agency. That's going to be a radar sensor, and it's going to be collecting amazing data and tons of it once it's launched. Once something's launched, we probably won't give a training on it for about a year. We want to make sure that the data sets are stable, validated, ready to go. So not like in a research phase. We want to put it out there when it's totally usable and in a very secure spot. And they'll probably be on the cloud with the massive amount of data they're collecting, or they will collect. Groundwater, quantity, quality. Yeah, there's a mission called the GRACE mission that actually can detect groundwater. They use it with gravity measurements and differences in that. The resolution is quite large, but it is able to collect information on groundwater. Habitat connectivity, yeah. So the animal tracking one coming up soon. I believe they're going to be talking about things like that. But when it comes to species population data, as I mentioned, this is a personal favorite of mine. Very cool.
Many different topics.
Yeah,
There is one here.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is one here about tracking human mobility due to environmental events, flooding, landslides, desertification. That's also super interesting.
And you know what's interesting too is we'll put a training out there on a topic, and to hear what people are sort of going into, they come up with applications that we may not even thought of, because they're just trying to, people are just trying to address what's in front of them, what's in their backyard, what their job is to manage and make things safe for people. So during the question and answer session, we get ideas of potential applications we never thought of, and that's one of the most fascinating parts of this job.
Thank you, Brock, and thank you everyone for joining this webinar. I will wrap up because we are on time. Okay, there is a quick additional question that maybe we can ask. Can your program be part of a project consortium?
Can you expand on that a little bit for me? Of a project consortium, I'll say in general, we're open to be part of all kinds of different networks. So please feel free to email me and tell me more about this. There's a great program called EOTech DevNet, which is a network of Earth observing training partners around the globe. UMetSat, WMO, ISRO, EO College. So yeah, that's a great network. I guess that can be part of a consortium, but please, Leonith, please email me and tell me more.
Okay, I wrote Brock's mail again in case we got lost in the questions. My connection is very bad. I hope you can hear me all right. But with that, we will end this webinar. Remember to visit the ARSET website and also the GLP website if you want to know the next ARSET webinars. And thank you, Brock, for your time. This was super nice and super informative.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.